In a world tangled with fate and chaos, it is choice that grants us the strange, divine gift of authorship. Hello my friends, it's Tom Hatsis, your entheohistorian, and this is Ayahuasca Witchcraft, Night 2, Hecate's Secret Sacred Word. So, Night 2 started off very all over the place. And if anything I'm about to say confuses you, please check out my video about Ayahuasca Witchcraft, Night 1, Circe's Sacred Secret Word. Having learned Circe's Sacred Word the night before, which was forgiveness, I wanted to know how to always find forgiveness in my heart. Because I think, as we might all be able to agree, the truth is it is not always easy to forgive. Hecate is the Goddess of Crossroads, so I hoped that she could show me the path in my heart to always find forgiveness. But first, if you're into this kind of content, please give this video a like and a share, subscribe to the channel, and find me on Instagram at tom.hatsis. Also, I do have a Substack now, please check that out. So, one guy was having this really rough time during the ceremony. I mean, he was definitely processing some very deep stuff. But it seemed as if the facilitators then started to cater the entire night to him. The music went from energetic to, for lack of a better word, dull. And so we hit this lull in the ceremony where, I mean, don't get me wrong, the songs were still beautiful that were being sung by the facilitators, but it was just this very sorrowful, dead kind of energy, and the medicine was, I don't know if the medicine was weak, or the ceremony was weak, or it was both, but I mean, I was bored to tears. I was absolutely like, I can't believe that I'm in an ayahuasca ceremony, and I am just this bored. It was really surprising. I couldn't even get into hyperspace. That's how dead the energy was. And, you know, I'm always talking about how, like, oh yeah, hyperspace is really cool, but the goddess realm is way better. But, you know, like, I was so bored, I was literally praying, praying for hyperspace. I was like, please, could something just happen here? This boredom is killing me. And I kept waiting for Hecate to show up, but she was nowhere to be found. I was hoping to be lifted into the goddess realm as easily as I had been the night before. But none of that was forthcoming. Eventually, the facilitators opened up the room for another round of sacrament, and I drank some more, hoping to salvage the night one way or another. As the second dose of the sacrament began to fill my soul, I realized I couldn't find Hecate anywhere because the crossroads was not between two areas of immaterial realities, like let's say hyperspace and the goddess realm, but rather it was between my spiritual body in the goddess realm and my terrestrial body on Earth. And Hecate wanted me to actually be in my body and be comfortable and okay with just being me. I've never had much by way of self-esteem or confidence in my life, and Hecate was just sort of cracking that whip and saying, hey, I need you to start believing in yourself a little bit. The music started to perk up a bit, and the spirit of the goddess started to possess me. I walked to the center of the room and started doing this dance that embodied both the divine masculine and the sacred feminine. Now, truth be told, I'm not exactly sure what that means. It's just something that my fiancé told me afterward. It was very as above, so below. Like the goddess from above came in and was moving my body below. I was dancing like a ravenous spirit, moving some very stagnant energy around inside me. And at least for the while, I was actually comfortable being me. Now, in my last video, I'd mentioned that I always try to take a sacred word back from the goddess realm. Circe had given me the word forgiveness. Once I was finally comfortable with myself, Hecate gave me the second word, which is choice. And, you know, it sounds so simple, but really, the deepest and most sacred truths, they always are. They're the ones we already know, but we allow the cluster and noise of life to interrupt them. And when you remove all that noise and all that clutter and you're just in your body, sharing it with a goddess, you realize and you remember how simple and sacred these truths actually are. And so here are my thoughts on the sacred nature of choice as bestowed by Hecate, Goddess of the Crossroads. Choice is the hinge upon which we move through life, not always loud, not always clear, but ever present, like a whisper in the chambers of the soul, inviting us to create the shape of our lives. In a world tangled with fate and chaos, it is choice that grants us the strange, divine gift of authorship. Choice lives in the pause between stimulation and reaction. It is easy to miss, easy to override with fear of habit. I mean, personally, I do it all the time, which is why I eat mushrooms, specifically Amanita muscaria mushrooms, because at least for me, they really help with that. They really help with expanding that space between the stimulus and the reaction, although again, I am not always successful. But in that liminal space, easily brought about by ayahuasca or mushrooms, a universe expands. The mystics speak of this sacred breath. Is not one of the oldest magical phrases abracadabra, meaning, and thus what was spoken was manifested? In the Kabbalah, each letter of creation breathes with potential. The pause is the ground of mindfulness. What we choose in the silence becomes what we sing in public. And when we choose our public song, we are free. We may not control the winds, but we do steer the sail. We might not have hung the stars in the sky, but we can choose how to walk beneath them. To choose is to engage in the subtlest form of alchemy. When we say yes to truth, we say no to the distortions that blind us. When we say no to what is no longer aligned, we open space for something much greater to enter. This is not easy. It's like, I know I'm saying it like I have it all figured out. Believe me, I don't. It's as difficult as forgiveness. Getting back to that ancient phrase of abracadabra, not just every word, but every choice is a spell. A mental spell cast into form by our actions. What we say yes to evolves. What we give our attention to becomes part of what we will become. Choice is the bridge between thought and reality. It is the handle of the magic wand. The ancient Egyptians weighed the soul against a feather. The heart had to be light. Every choice, every intention contributes to the weight we carry. When we choose fear, the heart grows heavy. When we choose truth, the heart is freed. There are times in our life when we feel like choice has been stripped from us through grief, poverty, injustice, betrayal, and damn, did I just go through that. In those moments, we can forget our agency, but the truth is, some ember still remains. And we can choose to hold it again when we are ready. When we choose with soul, we enter into a dance with the divine. We are given signs, synchronicities, and strange allies will come into our life with some kind of advice that sort of changes the trajectory we were on. The universe, like a wise and playful teacher, responds to our decisions with new doors, new mirrors, new trials, and, in some cases, new hopes for the future. Some might call this karma, others might call it grace. But the truth remains. The world moves in response to our choices. Not always how we expect, but in the very least, always with a lesson, if we are careful enough to pay attention. Well, my friends, that's all I have for you this time, and I'd love to thank you for stopping by. If you found value in this content, please give this video a like and a share, subscribe to the channel, find me on Instagram, and check out my Substack. And until we meet again, I'm Tom Hatsis, your entheohistorian, reminding you that you free your mind by using your brain. Peace.